right, guys, welcome back. It's the daily close. I hope you guys are all right. We're here with OX Infinite Bid, BASXD Buddha, and myself, Crypto-pleb. Today we're going to be talking about 3 projects that we think are going to look good. We're absolutely bullish on. We think that fundamentally they're very strong, so we have high expectations for them. We thought you guys might be interested in them too. So, before we begin, of course, not financial advice. So just know that this is our own research. We find it interesting. So that's what we want to share with you, but don't trade directly off this unless you want to get hurt. So without further ado, BASXD Buddha, what did you come up with though?
Yeah, so as Crypto-pleb just mentioned, we got three hot projects. I think there's a lot of projects, a lot of protocols that I'm very bullish on within the crypto space. I wanted to actually basically show a protocol or a network that's actually, I think, is quite it could potentially become very mainstream and very profitable for crypto as a whole. And so that project is AMP. And I'm not sure if you've come across AMP before, but AMP is quite interesting. There's been recent hype over AMP on crypto Twitter, and I know it's had some upward price action while Bitcoin was ranging sideways back in June. Maybe I should share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I thought it was already on. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Great. All right. Yeah. So super bullish on AMP. I think it's got a lot of potential, whether it's this bull run or the next one, but it's definitely sort of a long-term solution. I think it's going to be very good for crypto community, but also everyone as a whole. So the real question is, what is AMP, right? Yes, AMP is AMP. I don't know if you guys heard of it. AMP is basic collateral token of the Flexa payments network. So to understand AMP and its utility, we actually need to understand Flexa, which is Flex is basically like a crypto version of Stripe or Square.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, AMP used to have a different name before. It used to be called FlexaCoin, which is a lot more easier to understand. It kind of associates with the name of Flexa, but they rebranded back in September last year, September 2020. And I'll kind of go into that a bit later, but they rebranded and then they basically developed the coin with consensus. But going back to Flexa and the actual network, one second. So yeah, Flexa, let me just open up this page real quick. So Flexa is basically a fraud-proof payments network in the world, right? I mentioned Stripe and Square, but it basically allows you to pay for anything in the off-chain real world without having to off-ramp your crypto into fiat and then fiat into off-ramp into fiat and take it off the exchange or take it off Coinbase, Gemini, whatever, into like your bank account to actually pay. It does function different than like a crypto credit card, which I'll go into. But basically, it allows instant crypto payments in brick and mortar shops as well as on online stores without any intermediary third party. So it basically mitigates any friction between customers paying with crypto and merchants accepting fiat. And how they do this is basically consumers would actually provide a QR code. It's kind of like a QR code. They call it a flex code. But at the point of sale, when you're buying something, you just show this Flexa, this one right here, Flexa sort of code. And then the point of sale system that a lot of merchants have, they basically just scan it and then it automatically translates into fiat. And the merchant just accepts fiat. And so there's no other transaction that's necessary. You don't need to do any kind of conversion. It automatically does it for you. And to date, it's been fraud proof. So there's no fraud thus far, as well as another good thing about this is guaranteed settlement. It's in the US and Canada at the moment. And yeah, right now it's actually in about 41,000 locations in the US and Canada.
Jeez.
It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty broad. So, I mean, you're probably wondering like, how does this work, right? Because it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, absolutely fintech payment, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to this, right? Because if merchants can accept cryptocurrency and fiat, they avoid a lot of the regulatory and accounting like uncertainties that are related to like digital assets. So it's for merchants, it's preferable, right? They don't have to do any type of additional paperwork. Another thing with Flexa is, I'm just trying to see if there's actual diagram, but the way it works is you have merchants with existing point of sale system, right? And it's for merchants, they don't actually have to buy another, software or buy another like, physical product, or they don't even need to upgrade anything. Flexa is basically developed in a way that you can actually just integrate it seamlessly into existing infrastructure of brick and mortar shops or Shopify. They've actually partnered with, or Shopify integration is actually coming real soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of just broadens the scope.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Online and offline, it's gonna be used everywhere else.
Yeah.
Is
So,
it similar to, sorry, is it similar to like Luna in terms of being a payment system?
You might have to elaborate on that. I'm actually
Oh, maybe we can
No.
discuss that another time.
yeah, I don't know too much about Luna. I know it's brilliant, but yeah, I don't know the actual ins and outs of it, so I can't comment at the moment.
No worries.
But I mean, okay, so that's how Flexa network payments work. And so if you're wondering what actually AMP is the collateral token that serves between us as consumers and merchants. So like, for example, if you wanted, the way the instant payments work is that if you as a consumer, you buy a product, the money will automatically convert to fiat and the merchants will get the money, but as collateral. And AMP works as sort of this middle token where it automatically pays the merchant. And if the consumer doesn't end up paying, it defaults. And then the merchant is still able to basically liquidate using the collateral and they get their money. So that's how it prevents any kind of fraud or any kind of payments not settling. And so AMP is the actual collateral token. And so it's basically like a digital placeholder. And it allows it so that no one has to wait for the transaction to be confirmed on the blockchain before anyone gets their money. So it's really brilliant in terms of that concept. But like, you're probably wondering like, okay, if that's the case, you probably need enough collateral to actually support the network, right? So AMP has actually had a few different reward campaigns to basically jumpstart and crowdsource their network. And I'm just trying to see, where's the this little button at the top keeps showing. I can't actually get to my tabs. How do you... God dang it. There we go. Okay. So this is the amount of collateral existing on the network already, about 1.2 billion, 1.3 billion, basically. I was watching a few videos on Flexa and AMP a few months ago. So back in like September and October, and it was only around like 30 million. So their reward campaign ended about December 2020. But basically, like, you're able to stake your AMP in Flex-enabled apps. So Flex is actually partnered with Gemini, and which means also the Winklevoss brothers, right? So going into sort of the actual founder and the team, Flexa was founded by this rocket engineer called Tyler Spalding, and I mentioned before that they used to be called FlexCoin. They came up with this whole concept, but you know, DeFi became hot. They realized that they wanted to enable staking on the actual coin. And so they basically scrapped FlexiCoin itself and collaborated with Consensus, which is basically right. Consensus is founded by the one of the founders of Ethereum, right? It's wholly backed with Ethereum community, and so this AMP coin is actually co-developed with Consensus to enable staking and a few other traits as well. The other investors or big names behind this are the Winklevoss brothers. That's another reason why you'll have AMP as in the actual Gemini exchange. So going to say AMP in their markets, Gemini is one of the biggest markets. I mean, it recently listed on Coinbase as well. That kind of just popped off.
Banco's up there too. Interesting.
Yeah, it's on DEXs as well. Uniswap, Sushi, Bancor.
I think that means a lot of people will probably be staking, right? If Banco's like number 2.
Yeah. So
and obviously I saw they were using GUSD as well, which is obviously the Gemini backed USD.
Yeah,
pretty interesting, which makes sense that Gemini's up there too.
There's an actual diagram, but can't find it at the moment. Or I can't get to my tab. But it's very simple for both consumers and merchants. What else? I mean, there's so much to talk about in terms of AMP. Like, it's well funded. I mean, they got a lot of basically support from a few different funds, crypto ventures, 6 million. Oh, did my screen go away?
Oh yeah, it popped off. You can jump it back on.
Wrong button. There you go. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just going back and forth. In terms of the actual tokenomics, we'll just talk about, it has about 48 billion in circulating supply at the moment out of about 100 billion. So, I mean, one thing about this is that the supply is capped, and just doing a bit of research, the actual full supply is supposed to be circulating in roughly like 2045. So it's got a bit of time. But you know, the way it works in terms of tokenomics is that the actual token appreciates in value as a direct result of its utility. So the more people using AMP on this Flex network, the more they make payments, the more the network grows, and obviously the more the value of AMP grows. And so it's kind of like just the whole Metcalfe's law network effect, right? And going back to, yeah, this is a big one. Actually, let me jump to that a bit. Going back to this, let me jump into, oh my God, how come I can't get to my screen? This is a bit annoying.
Just don't make it easy.
It does not make it easy. I actually downloaded the Flex enabled app. So Spend is actually the app from Flexa, and the other Flex enabled app is Gemini, right? So as I mentioned, Winklevoss brothers. And can basically use the stable coins within those. So DAI, Gemini USD, etc., and convert basically into USD or Canadian dollar. Good thing to note here that it's only right now being they're doing a lot of their, you know, marketing, and they're integrations with US and Canadian stores. So one downside to this is it's not actually completely global yet. But I think it's just sort of just a matter of time. I've downloaded the actual Spend app just to see what kind of stores are available at the moment. A few of the ones that show up are like Baskin Robbins, Bed Bath and Beyond, Lowe's, Nordstrom, Petco, Regal. I know GameStop's.
All the classic stores.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they're integrated in a lot of big names already.
Oh yeah, no, massive, absolutely massive. Let me just pull up this. You just even go to all the announcements that they make, all the integrations and payment partners. You have income payments. They're hard. I mean, they're not as obvious because they're kind of the payment system behind all these stores, right? So like NCR is the actual infrastructure, the product used for, those payment transactions, which they've already integrated with a while ago, at least a year ago. So yeah, it's just coming. They've integrated with Chainlink as well to get the price feeds. That way it's as accurate as possible. Yeah. So I kind of want to close soon, but I mean, I think this project has a lot of potential. You mentioned it's got about right now about 40,000 stores in the US and Canada. I think one of the downsides is not completely global yet, but the whole concept around AMP and its collateral pool is actually pretty brilliant. You can stake, you can get basically APY off of it. Saw a few different videos and read some different articles on Medium, but the average APY is about 5 to 6%. So, I mean, that kind of return is it's not bad, right? I mean, with traditional finance, it's like much better than things you're getting like the bond market or something. It's bad, and it continue to grow in value, right? As long as the network continues to grow. I think the space is quite competitive. You have Visa, MasterCard working on sort of on and off ramp solutions. You have other crypto credit cards. I think the biggest difference with AMP though is that it's got AMP and Flexa is that it's a very seamless software solution for existing infrastructure. And it's actually really good for merchants because the cost is much less than credit card and debit card payment fees. It's close to none. So it's a very advantageous option for merchants. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't consider it. Yeah, and you have all these other stores readily accepting crypto payments. I think the one downside is that it really is based on how the network grows. So it's sort of a gamble, right? But if you do get in early, and it does perform well, I think it's got a lot of potential, definitely. It's also on things like Cream Finance, where you can actually lend out your AMP, collateralize it, get an APY on that as well. I mean, this is probably just going to evolve in more and more different options as long as DeFi continues to evolve as well. Yeah, I'm conscious of time, but that's kind of what I want to say about AMP. You guys have any questions?
Oh man, it seems pretty straightforward. It's just the ability to make payments all over the place. This AMP services collateral in between.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that is gonna be an absolute game changer. Huh?
Yeah, AMP's been the sort of the tech behind AMP and the team behind AMP is pretty amazing. So I'm really expecting big things for AMP. I've heard a lot of good things about it from some of the people on crypto Twitter, that I speak with, and I don't hear anyone say anything bad about it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously the price is obviously crashing with the current market crash, but I think when things pick up, AMP's a big contender for like one of the biggest gainers out there.
I think so, definitely. One thing to note is that during the Bitcoin, even after the crash, right, when we were raging, and it picked up, it really pumped hard back in sort of late June. I think the all-time high on like 12 cents. Obviously it retraced as most things do, but yeah, I think it's got a lot of potential.
It's gone up 2,076% since November 2020, which is 8 months ago. Wow. It was less than a cent. It was a quarter of a cent. That's insane.
Pretty insane. Pretty insane. Yeah. All right. Super bullish on this.
Good man. Good man. It's good to see. Maybe I can jump in here then with my project. My project's on Axie Infinity. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Maybe you guys have heard about Axie Infinity before, but let me see if I can.
Yeah, it's popping off recently, right? NFT gaming.
There you guys can see my screen now, yeah?
No, I can't.
You stop sharing mine.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can see it now.
See it now? Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, so I was looking at Axie Infinity. I felt like some of these crypto games could definitely pick up a lot of interest. So I thought when I looked through a few of these games in this market, this is one of the projects that came up, and I feel like overall it's undervalued. Actually, maybe I should go over. This is the main screen. If you go to their website, this is what you're going to see. So I mean, it's clearly digital gaming, where
Nice.
Put it quite simply, I mean, it's just a whole universe that people can join in, earn tokens, and or earn tokens through gameplay, and then they can make contributions to the ecosystem, like staking, for example. So some of the coins they earn, they can stake back into the ecosystem, and then players can also battle with each other to collect, raise, and build, I guess, their own kingdom as well. And so, for them, one of the big visions, so the Axie Infinity, their vision, or Axie Infinity is built by Sky Mavis, which is a company that was formed in 2018. But the whole vision is to give or empower players with giving them the economic opportunities, aka make money through playing games. And I guess for anyone who's employed and understands that how painful jobs can be, if you can make money while playing games, I think that's probably any guy's, any girl's dream.
That's a dream.
So,
that's a dream, yeah.
And I think that's exactly what they're working towards with this kind of project. And so, I'll say that this actually does really, really well. There's actually a site here that ranks DAB Radar for top blockchain games, and Axie Infinity is at the top on all 7 24 hours, 7 day, 30 day. I mean, its nearest competitors I don't think even come close. Last time I looked at this, I think the gap may have widened because Axie Infinity is at 20.74K users. Before I checked it, it was at 18.37. So I mean, it's going up in a matter of days. Last time I checked was Sunday now. So that's going up massively. But before they're at 15.78 trading volume, now I see they're at 18.49. I mean, these are massive gains. So it's, I think, right in the midst of it, fundamentally growing in popularity. Yeah, so I mean, overall, they have, I think they're performing well, just as a coin in itself. But just going back to the page, actually, maybe I can tell you guys a little bit about their story here. So I mean, this is their founder here, Trung Nguyen. And him back in 2018, starting Sky Mavis. It's basically a technology-focused game studio, and they're backed by the other peers here. Alexander, CEO, Vet, as CTO, going down. These seems to be the core members of the group. Obviously, this guy right here, he seems to be quite good because he's the art lead, and that's where you get all the cute characters on the platform. So I think he's definitely a big puncher here. But this group, I mean, they have a really nice team working together. They seem to document all the things, all the trips. Very good culture within the group. I've been looking through as well. But they all working together here. They they started with their in-house Axie NFT marketplace in March 2018. They actually, I think it might even better if I just pull up their the timeline as well, because the roadmap, because this I think will be quite, you can see where they come from 2018 to what they've developed up to this point. These are the completed milestones, so it's probably easy to start down here. But they got their breeding game released in 2018 May, and then just been making a series of other milestones along the way. In-house land NFT marketplace. The other NFTs, I think the NFTs are actually quite well valued, to be honest. Actually, I just saw this. I'll just pop over here real quick. Just today, one of the little mystic characters 5 hours ago sold for 365,000. So
wow.
Or 175 ETH. So I mean, when it comes to NFTs, they ain't playing around.
Reminds me of the punks, or maybe 6 or 7
100
months ago.
kitties or something.
Yeah. I think that's the.
Wait, how do you get one of these?
I think kind of go into, they have a marketplace, right? So we have to jump into their marketplace.
I think they have also on OpenSea too, on the secondary market. But also, as Crypto-pleb was saying, that they have their own marketplace.
Yeah. What do you mean, in the game, right?
I think you breed them. You breed them. So
you
need 3 to start, and then you can actually breed them, and then you can sell them on the marketplace, so you can use them in other battles or whatever the game's about.
You battle with other people. They envision having like tournaments in the future here too. So I imagine that along the line through tournaments, you could potentially win NFTs as well.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I think all this is quite interesting. So Axie Infinity is on the or was on the ETH network, but they released Ronin, which is their own ETH sidechain. That way they can get, because as we all understand, ETH is transactions are quite expensive. Well, until EIP 5059 comes out, but until then, I mean, it's just been so expensive to run transactions, and so they move into their own chain so they can be faster and cheaper. And then instead of the money going from the miners, it goes to the ecosystem, to the community. And so it's just, it reinvests into itself. So that's what they've moved over successfully. So that's in Q2 2021 migrated over to Ronin. So it's quite big, but what makes me even more bullish about them is the fact that being a game, thinking about the gaming, mobile gaming industry, how large that industry is, the fact that they're going to move over to mainstream release onto iOS and Android. I mean, fundamentally, it's just going to be an absolute massive increase. Because like I'll just put this in as well. The mobile gaming industry, US dollars, is about 71.9 billion in 2020, and so we're talking about that large of a size that they can get into with this kind of game. So I mean, it's just
that's huge.
It's up only. So yes. But so I mean, that's a big reason I'm quite bullish about that. Just about them, they are capped off at 270 million max supply for the tokens, and that's hard coded into into smart, into their project. That's not going to change. And so, I mean, I think like even at this market cap, 956 million, just a few days ago, they're at 753 million. That's a that's one heck of a climb. Its market cap. It's only at 55 million of its circulating supply too. So they expect that maybe in 2023 they should be getting through quite a lot of it. I think that's what I could probably add here, just for a few final points about this program is, the good thing about it, like I said before, is it's getting moved to mobile. Good, solid development team, good community that's around it that are buying into NFTs and that are playing the game from the massive volume of players on it. If there's any kind of concerns that I would have is that I think in a way to protect the game from any kind of fraud or anybody taking over, that the Sky Mavis team retains most of the ownership over voting, and that it's not fully decentralized, but
Right.
it's moving to the direction of being decentralized to move that control over to the community, which they expect to happen in October 2023. As more tokens are released and more voting rights are given out. They do that to protect the platform because they have a vested interest in this not falling apart, but in a sense, it's not fully decentralized. So that's one thing to consider. It is actually, in terms of being afraid of any kind of rugs, it is well vetted by QuantStamp, and that only, of any kind of concerns that came up, they're usually in the low risk range. I mean, they had 3 low risk and maybe 4 informational risks. So they've been able to keep a tight ship going through. I think it's just a few, I guess they're using kind of old compilers that they need to update, but I mean, these just seem to be simple things to fix. So from a risk perspective, as a project, it just seems it seems safe. A safe project to look into. I jumped into this and putting some money I'm invested into Axie Infinity as well. So, I mean, I think all things considered from fundamental perspective, it looks pretty good. I think it's a safe project, and that's why I'm bullish on it. So I think I'll be putting more money into it. It's not financial advice, so you don't have to follow me on that. But if you're interested, yeah, definitely do some research. I like it a lot.
Cool. I also heard that, I read an article that people, I think in some of the developing countries, are actually earning more money than their salary by playing this game and breeding these Axies. They're earning more money from this than their actual salary. So that's quite interesting to see too. I mean, it's just the blockchain just provides an infinite amount of opportunity, doesn't it, really?
It absolutely does. And that's hearing that kind of story is exactly the vision of the group, empowering people with economic opportunity for playing games. It just works.
Specifically playing games.
Specifically. All right. Yeah. So for this next one, Axie Infinite Bid, you have a project of your own that you're quite bullish on now, right?
I do. The one I wanted to share actually is WooTrade Network. Not sure if you've heard of it before, if you've seen it. It's got the cash tag and Woo, WOO. Let me share my screen first. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This is a PowerPoint one, right? Just a slide one.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so I'll try and keep this nice and concise. So yeah, as I mentioned, my project that I'm going to cover today is WooTrade Network. I'm very, very bullish on this. So let's start off by addressing what it actually is. So it's a deep liquidity network that empowers and also can be utilized in both CeFi, so centralized finance, via exchanges, and also DeFi protocols like Uniswap and SushiSwap. And so what it does with this liquidity is it enables exchanges to compete, regardless of if they're big or small, at a very, very low cost. And that means that users like you and I can benefit from the entire ecosystem and the liquidity that it provides through, its larger order flows and minimal slippage as well. So you can see from the current slide that's up at the moment, it's partnered with a lot of people. You can see on the right hand side that Kronos is there. Now, Kronos, Woo was founded by Kronos Research, which many people haven't heard of probably, but they are one of the top quantitative trading firms in the world, and they generate around 5 to 15 billion in daily trading volume. So that's quite a lot if you think about it. To give you an example, and so that you can compare, if we look at the biggest exchange in crypto right now, which is Binance, Binance has around 25 to 50 billion in daily trading volume. So if Kronos Research is doing 5 to 15 billion in daily trading volume, that's around 20 to 30% of the whole trading volume of Binance. So WooTrade isn't an exchange at the moment. It obviously doesn't solely trade on one exchange, but it's to give you a better idea of how much volume these guys actually do in comparison to one massive exchange. So it's basically one firm doing 20 to 30% of Binance's volume. So the Kronos research team, they're highly experienced, they're very respected, and unlike many other crypto projects out there, they've been working together for a long time now. Well, I say a long time, but long time in crypto, sure. 3 years. Initially as a two-man team. And in just a few years' time, they now have over 80 employees. So these guys are definitely serious and they're definitely here to stay. So I want to move on to what makes Woo an exciting investment and why you should consider investing in it. And full disclosure, I am invested in Woo, and it's not financial advice, but I am super bullish on this project. One of the first and most exciting products is actually WooX, which is currently in open beta. So it's a zero-fee deep liquidity CeFi exchange, very similar to how Binance and all other centralized exchanges work, built on top of the Woo network. And users can access zero-fee trading with some of the best liquidity in the market, basically, using this exchange. I'm currently using it at the moment. It's great. I think it's amazing. Their UI looks incredible, and the users are able to actually customize the UI to their liking by adding, removing widgets, moving around different sections, having different tabs for different coins and tokens and pairings. So it's super nice. It's super clean. So I really like the UI interface of WooX. One thing I will mention is that they do only have USDT, so Tether trading pairs. And they also have a limited selection so far because they're in open beta. But they are in the process of listing other pairs. But they have around 30 right now, 30 different asset classes, which isn't bad, including BTC and ETH and other major coins as well. Zero fees basically attract everyone from the smallest traders to the largest traders and investors. But more so, I think this would benefit the larger players, as you literally pay zero fees regardless of the size that you trade. So as long as the person or the firm or the institution is staking a little bit of Woo, which I'll talk about soon, ultimately, they'll be making $1 million trades, hundreds of millions of dollars of trades with absolutely zero costs. So ultimately, money talks in this market. And, when large traders can save that amount of money, why would they go anywhere else to trade? Apart from WooX, because WooX does have the best liquidity in the market, and it also has zero costs. So the infographic or the picture that you can see on your screen right now is actually spot liquidity for BTC. you can see that Woo it's only in open beta, and it has the largest liquidity, the largest order book, compared with the other big players out there like Binance and FTX.
Jeez.
Wow.
So moving on to the next one. So you can see here that, you keep everything that you earn basically. So to give you an example of, different size traders, if you trade $1 million a day, we're talking about big players here, not retail, but more sort of like institutional firms. 1 million a day, you save 182,000. 5 million a day, you're saving upwards of 700,000. If you're doing 10 million a day, you're saving over $1 million, just from fees and different costs. So WooX is definitely leading the front on that respect. But Woo is not simply just about its exchange. It's not simply just about its WooX. Currently, WooX makes up a tiny fraction of Woo's trading volume. So if I move on to the next one, this infographic shows that institutional clients and the WooTrade DeFi network also make up a huge portion of volume, which also highlights the sheer size and scale of this project. So you've got WooX, which is in beta, that only makes up 1.7% of its volume. So you've got institutional clients that make up the majority of it, which is about 80%, with 3.68 billion now, which is pretty insane. Bear in mind, this is still all in, beta, and it's still all in development as well. So if Woo has zero trading fees, you might be asking, how do these guys make money? Because that's generally how, exchanges make a big chunk of their revenue. So instead of charging users fees to use their platform, they actually generate revenue from market makers. So market makers offer significant rebates to WooTrade in exchange for providing order flows, liquidity, which has also been a proven revenue model in traditional finance as well. And remember, these guys are who are behind Woo are from Kronos Research. They have extensive experience in the traditional finance market as well, so they know exactly what they're doing. But it doesn't stop there. So WooX then uses 50% of their revenue to buy back their Woo token on the market. So we're going into tokenomics here, and burn them on a monthly basis. So around 8 million Woo tokens, $8 million worth of Woo tokens, I think, have been burnt so far, with around 800K, around 760K in May alone. So that was a couple of months ago, with WooX still being in closed beta. So what this does is it creates immense buy pressure with buybacks like this, especially if they're burning 50% of their revenue. That's pretty insane. So it kind of creates this sort of scarcity for Woo, and therefore the upwards pressure in the price too. So essentially, they're operating on a deflationary token model. Supply is reducing over time, pushing up price and buy pressure. In addition, they have, so 50% of the total supply is being used for ecosystem rewards, and 20% is going to the team, vested over 3.5 years. So when I was looking at these tokenomics, I was genuinely very, very impressed. The tokenomics for this are insane, and some of the best I've ever seen in any project in the crypto space. So the scarcity of Woo and being able to stake for zero fees is that, it will drive the value of this project up. And you can see from this chart below that institutions will be foaming at the mouth to buy and stake their Woo for zero fee trading at massive size. It's already estimated that by the team that 500 million Woo tokens will be locked and staked in the first year, which is currently around 80% of total supply. So if you have 80% total supply locked, you're not, the sell pressure versus the buy pressure there is not even comparable. So this means that as more tokens are staked, earning yield for stakers, which is currently around 5%, I think it's similar to what BASXD Buddha mentioned with AMP. This kind of fluctuates, and there's some sort of game theory going on here as well, but the base is around 5%, with the potential to earn more. With this, with more tokens being staked and people wanting to earn 5% on their staked tokens, I think the amount of tokens on the market will naturally decrease as more people want to stake, which leads to further competition and upwards pressure for everyone to try and get their hands on Woo, as 80% of it is estimated to be staked soon. Another area of Woo is Woo Ventures, which has been set up to basically identify and invest in early stage projects that provide value not only to the WooTrade Network, but also to the blockchain space in general. The first project to be part of Woo Ventures, you might have heard of it before. It's Dodo. It's Breeder DAO, I think it's called, which is a fairly sizable DeFi service protocol where you can trade and swap both on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain Network as well. So this is good for Woo token holders because not only is Woo Ventures investing in promising projects that could provide value to Woo and therefore boost the price, but also 50% of tokens received by Woo Ventures will be airdropped to Woo holders and stakers. Now, we all know that some airdrops have been very successful in the past. For example, you got Uniswap. I'm not sure how much that is worth now, but that was it's probably worth quite a bit. And others that haven't performed as well. But getting an airdrop from a handpicked project by Woo Ventures is something that I definitely wouldn't complain about. So it's literally free airdrops, money falling from the sky. So moving on to the future of Woo and sort of like its milestones and the roadmap, you can see what they've achieved already and what's to come down the line for the rest of this year. By the end of this quarter, the official WooX launch will happen. It'll be released to the public. Futures trading will be happening at the end of Q3. And all these things are, massive bullish catalysts in itself, let alone, everything in one quarter. I think it's just going to be absolutely insane. Q4, we have social trading on the roadmap, which is essentially copy trading, allowing people to copy trades from the best traders in the world. And one of their competitors in this space who have done really well is eToro. I'm not sure if you've heard of eToro, which has already built a company valued at 2.5 billion alone, which is just, and this social trading is just one aspect of Woo. So, it's pretty mind-blowing what they're trying to achieve. The community as well with Woo is one of the most active and welcoming communities that I've seen in the space. The Discord and Telegram channels always have people sharing and asking questions and wanting to help out. And they also have periodic newsletters and update calls, which the public is welcome to join and listen to at any time too. So I guess one of the final bits that I wanted to cover is the valuation of Woo and where it could be going in the future. So with everything that I've gone over just now, I think the potential valuation of Woo is monstrous. Someone on Twitter, his name is Chart Simpson. He's a big Woo believer, and I think he's an early supporter of Woo as well. And he put together some calculations and some interesting points that could lead us to estimate a potential valuation for Woo. So firstly, if you look at any exchange coin, their valuation is more or less equal to the trading volume that these exchanges process. So just to give a couple of examples, Binance, BNB, has around 20 to 30 billion in trading volume. That's in recent times due to the recent crash. Obviously volatility in trading volume has fallen off significantly. So they've done around 20 to 30 billion, and they're valued at 48 billion market cap at the time of this video. Similarly, FTX, they have their FTT token, recently spiked to around 4 billion in trading volume. And I think they were up at around 4 billion market cap. Recently, they're currently valued at 2.6 billion. And Woo has about, well, it spiked at 300 million trading volume, which is not that big compared to when you compare it to Binance and FTX. You know, and they currently have around 300 million market cap as well. So you can see that the valuation is more or less equal to the trading volume of these exchanges. So what WooTrade Network's goal is that they want to sort of get 30% of total market volume, total market trading volume, that is, through its dark pools and its liquidity network. This would equal around 90 billion volume, given the current total trading volume in the whole crypto space, which would equate to around a 300x from its current price. The most recent highs in the market trading volume across the whole space was about 300 to 400 billion dollars. So in the next 12 to 8 months, if the crypto space grows exponentially, which is it's actually expected to or estimated to, more retail and more institutional money flows in, we can estimate that the total market cap of the crypto space is going to 5x. That's not too big to ask. If it 5x's, that would put the trading volume at around $2 trillion. So 90 billion dollars worth of trading volume for Woo would now be 5% of this. So as a protocol who is at the forefront of dark pools and liquidity, who are experts in the area, if they're able to accomplish what the traditional finance space has done, which dark pools actually account for about 30 to 40%. Woo would sorry, just go back a second. So 90 billion trading volume is 5% of 2 trillion, so 2 trillion is actually the total market trading volume. So that's 5% of that, and their goal is 30%. So currently Binance does about 20 to 25% of the total market volume, which is pretty big. They're the biggest player. The worst case scenario for Woo, in my opinion, it doesn't reach its goal of 30% total market trading volume. Let's say it only captures 5-10%. This would represent 100 to 200 billion of total market volume, which would imply a 300 to 600x from where it is now. So I know there's a lot of figures in there, and if you're interested, I can share links and with the guys who are watching this video. But essentially, there is massive potential in this project. I would not be surprised if this did like a 50 to 100x in the next 12 months or so. And let's not forget, that's just WooX. That's just its a part of the WooTrade network. You have other things like you've got futures, you've got social trading, you've got all these other things coming for WooTrade network. So that 300 to 600x is just based off WooX exchange. And that's the reason why I'm so bullish on it. So yeah,
that makes sense. That sounds like an absolute monstrous platform. It's gonna, well, I'm sold.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Yeah, and I know the figures were a little bit confusing, but essentially what WooTrade are going for is they're going for 30% of the total trading volume in the market. And if they can achieve 30%, similar to what Binance have done right now, the valuation of Woo will probably be around close to a 2000x, which is not bad. Just not bad.
I'll take it. I mean, we'll complain.
So yeah, I definitely recommend doing your own research into this project. It's a little bit difficult to understand at first, especially if you're not from a finance background. But yeah, it's definitely something to look at. Definitely something to do your own research in. And you know, please buy at your own risk.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah, just like one comment on that. I think liquidity is just an overall issue across crypto, across the crypto space, right? So even with this crash that we had in May 14th, May 15th, you had a few of the exchanges really struggling to actually continue operating. You had Binance, you had Coinbase, you had all these exchanges basically going offline, couldn't handle the actual volume. FTX is quite good. I mean, I imagine there's a lot. It's quite complex, so it's not just liquidity, for example. Could be the technology behind it. Could be just sort of the bandwidth.
Yeah.
But liquidity being sort of an issue with DEXs and all these things where we can't, right? You can actually buy tokens, but can't sell it because no one to sell it to. All this stuff. So it sounds like they're going to solve a real fundamental problem.
Yeah, I think that I think that as far as I know, they're the first mover in this space.
Right.
They've partnered. I just went back to the first picture there. They've partnered with a lot of people already within DeFi and CeFi. You have some big plays on there already, like Huobi, Gate.io, MXC, Delta Exchange. These are all up and coming. These are all up and coming exchanges. Once they partner with people like Binance and FTX, it's really game over. I think the dark pools and the liquidity being provided to those guys is going to be insane. And if they do, I don't have any doubt that they'll get 20 to 30% of total trading volume.
Even more. I mean, that's pretty conservative. That's right.
Yeah, I mean that's just going off, I guess, what traditional finance is experiencing at the moment. So traditional finance have about 30 to 40% of trading volume provided by dark pools.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'll definitely keep an eye on this one. Do some more research myself.
Very bullish, very bullish. It was great to see a lot of gains. Well, if not within a few weeks, the next few months. And even if we see any dips, I mean, I think fundamentally these are all strong projects. So this is good. Yeah, maybe just just keep looking to the market, looking for better projects, other plays, and I like it. So I think that's
may the pump be with you.
That's it. May the pump be with you. Terrible line.
Jesus.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's it. All right, thanks, guys.
All right. Cheers.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you.